Hi everyone. It is Jenna, and I am coming to you today with more event slash um, just share of one of the mom life challenges that have been brought about since COVID. I keep looking over here because Gatsby is joining me on this video. This is one of our two kitties. He likes to cuddle me when the kids are not here, so that will change very soon when they get back to the house. So if you, like me, have younger children, we utilize daycare. So when COVID first started last year, it's crazy to think it's been almost a year since then. We kept our kids in daycare even when, our work switched to remote. My husband's a teacher. I work in a corporate office setting, but I do a lot of conference calls, a lot of phone calls, etc. And we kept them in daycare and felt pretty confident in that decision. There was a time where the daycare did close for about a month if the parents weren't essential employees. So they were home with us during that time. And it has always been a struggle for me to focus as well as I should and would like to on both balancing both sides. I feel neglectful as a mom when they're here. I feel very neglectful as an employee when they're here because they want my attention, probably more so than they would with a sitter, but it's mom, and they're the same way with their dad. And our kids have moments of being able to be independent, playing or, doing a task, but not fantastically. Especially Mira Marie, she's going to be 2 in a couple weeks. So it's always been a struggle. So since they went back to daycare full time, and then, I've been back to the office occasionally, and then we go back to, remote. In a few more weeks, I will be going back to the office like once every 3 weeks. We're going back to like a 50% plan. So, since that kind of all came back to a little bit of normalcy, there's been now 2 instances where there was a child who tested positive in my son's daycare room. And the way the process works when that happens, even though he's only in daycare for before and after school care, he's in kindergarten, so he rides the bus from daycare to his school. If there's a positive test in his classroom, he's not able to attend for 2 weeks, and neither can she because she's part of his household. And the thought is that if he ends up developing symptoms, she would have already been exposed, so they don't want to keep her in her classroom in case of that risk. So because of siblings, both kids have to get pulled. And then obviously my son had to stay home from kindergarten for a little bit shorter time. Their rule was a little bit different. I think it was only 10 days instead of 2 weeks. And then we would do the drop off. And thankfully, we've never had a positive case in our household. We've never had symptoms. We have the option of getting them tested, but when they're not developing symptoms, I can't justify putting them through that. It's not terrible. Now that I have actually had a COVID test, I had to have one right before my surgery, and it was negative, obviously, but the test wasn't, awful, but I can't even imagine doing it as a 2-year-old or as a 6-year-old. So, we've our stance has been, unless they have symptoms and a doctor is, asking us to do it, we're not going to do that just to chop a day off or because it really only reduces the amount of time that they're out of the school by a minimal amount in most cases, just because of the way weekends work. So if it's only going to save them a day or two, it's not worth it. So To bring you up to speed on our current situation right now, in case you are tuning in for the first time, I had a double mastectomy 1 week ago today. I am on leave of absence for one more week. I'm hoping to go back to work next Monday, a week from today. But I have my follow-up appointment with my surgeon tomorrow. There was not school today because of President's Day. My husband didn't have school either. So I laid down this afternoon to take a nap. I was really tired really all afternoon. I think the pain has been a little intense, so it's just wearing me out. And I woke up and I saw an email from daycare, and they had apparently called my husband and spoke to him earlier while I was napping, because while I came out freaking out, he already had derived a plan for us. But essentially, we're now in a new situation where my daughter's classroom has potentially been exposed. I guess the way the pods work with the younger classrooms, there's a positive case in her pod, which doesn't necessarily mean direct contact, but enough to where her classroom will be closed for the next 2 weeks. And because of the sibling rule, my son cannot attend for the next 2 weeks either. So the interesting predicament we run into. So we are so blessed that my mother and father-in-law live near us, and my mother-in-law is retired, and she is fantastic at helping us whenever she can. As long as they're not traveling, she literally goes above and beyond helping us with the kids. And we really truly do consider them like an extension of our household. And that's kind of the one rule with COVID that we've kind of adjusted for our lifestyle, is that we have stayed exposed to them the whole time, because we literally see them almost every single day. And both households are very careful. We wear masks, we social distance, we're careful. And for us, it makes it where we still have this option. So they've been able to help out. We've been super blessed. For the most part, the last couple times that this has happened, they've been a huge blessing. Well, they have a trip and are leaving this Thursday for the remainder of the time that the daycare is going to be closed. So when I woke up, I was in a panic because I can't lift my daughter right now. And with her age, she can't be around with no one able to pick her up. Don't bite. So I immediately went into a panic. I'm like, oh my goodness, I have a appointment tomorrow that my mother-in-law was actually going to drive me to because I can't drive yet. But now both kids will be with us, whereas they would have been at daycare. Everyone's going to have snow day tomorrow, but my husband still has to teach because they're out of calamity days. So he'll be teaching remotely from home, even though they don't have to report to school because of the snow day. And thankfully, bless my husband, he's been my rock throughout everything I've ever encountered. He's amazing, and he's amazing with our kids. He's one of those where, super dad should be like tattooed on his chest, because he's just an incredible father. And he had already started navigating this so that I wouldn't worry. So bless his heart. So we're essentially going to rely on my mother-in-law for the next couple days, and then he is going to kind of navigate the rest of that time period with his school as needed. But I feel guilty. I mean, when these happen, I always feel like a guilty mom, because I know there are so many of you incredible moms out there that do have your kids home 24/7 now. Or, you're working from home, and when these things happen, you have no one else you can rely on, and you do have to do it all. I have not figured out how to, turn off the mom when my kids are home and be able to put in a full 110% day or 100% day, because I am so distracted by them, because they're constantly, even when it's just been my son home, he's constantly going in and asking me questions, and it's insanely disruptive to my work, because a lot of my work requires me to just kind of focus on a task and, really pay attention. So any distraction, it's not good for it. And of course, my daughter is young. She has a lot of needs. She is almost potty trained, which is fantastic, but she still needs help going to the potty, and she needs tasks. She wants attention. She loves mommy and daddy, and when we're around, she wants to be held. She wants to play with us. She thinks it's weekend. She thinks it's the time that she can hang out. So I guess the moral of this video is to give a huge applause and kudos to all you moms out there navigating this world, and dads. Sorry, not to diminish dads, because like I said, husband is super dad. It's such a different world now with COVID. These things, mom life, dad life is hard. It's hard. Every day is a new adventure, that you never would expect. And COVID just brings in, 5,000 more new adventures that can come. And you just got to think on your feet, because it's not like you get a week's notice that daycare is going to be closed. You sometimes get, 6-hour notice or whatnot, and you got to figure it out. And, luckily my job has always been very understanding, though I can't justify keeping both my kids home with me if I can avoid it, because they don't do well with independent work with me. My husband can do that a lot better than I can. And he does not get as distracted with them and still can care for them. But it's just a little bit different. Everyone's a little different. I guess that's my moment of kind of just sharing my mom weakness. I definitely, have the struggles during that. And it's something, I hope to improve on. But these are our wonderful challenges we will be facing the next 2 weeks. They say when it rains, it pours. And in this case, our weather here in Southwest Ohio is currently like blizzard, like catastrophic blizzard, where everything is closing down right now. So I guess when it snows, it pours, because all the things are aligned to make this all happen at the same time, where in-laws are out of town, doctor's appointments, can't drive, recovering from surgery, can't lift her, and kiddos stuck at home. But, we'll get through. We always do. That's kind of the mantra of mom and dad life, is you just take it one step at a time, one day at a time. And hey, if there's no injuries and, you got a smile or two out of there, I call that a win. But so for all of you other moms and dads out there struggling with the COVID challenges and daycare and school closures, I'm with you. It sucks, but we'll get through. Bye. Thanks for watching.